The question all of us are asking is, if the president knew of the existence of such a squad that committed such heinous crimes, should the members of such a squad face the full weight of the law for the crimes they have committed, indeed murders, if only to give relatives of the deceased some measure of justice for the lives wrongly and wantonly taken away by that squad? I've called you here this afternoon to respond to an issue that has been exercising the minds of many Kenyans, and also to put the record straight. This is as a result of the address by the President of the Republic of Kenya, William Ruto, on the evening of 31st of March at State Lodge, Sagana, in which, among other things, he stated that I absconded duty, and therefore that is the reason why he sent me packing. So here is my response. I did not abscond. Ruto fired me over my stand on abductions and extrajudicial killings. Ladies and gentlemen and fellow Kenyans, the President, in a televised interview on the night of 31st of March 2025 at Sagana State Lodge, stated that I was relieved of my duties for failing to attend cabinet meetings. And I wish to respond as follows. It will be recalled that on the 12th of January this year, I issued a press statement in which I condemned the rampant abductions and extrajudicial killings that had been going on in the country. And in that statement, I called upon the government to rise to the occasion and release all those who are held in captivity and bring to book the perpetrators. Subsequent to that statement, I was challenged, as many Kenyans would recall, to go and record a statement with the DCIO Kilimani, because in their own words, the matter was under active investigations. In obedience to that challenge, on the 14th of January this year, I recorded a comprehensive statement at the DCIO Kilimani. In that statement, I raised many fundamental issues as to how, among others, my son had been abducted and later released at the intervention of the President. This elicited calls for my resignation or sacking, including from several cabinet members and leaders from both houses of Parliament. There have been, for the record, this year, 3 cabinet meetings to date. The first one being on the 21st of January at Kakamega State Lodge. As usual, I received the invitation to attend the cabinet meeting, as well as the agenda of the cabinet meeting. After going through that agenda list, I realized that there was no agenda touching on the question of abductions and extrajudicial killings. Yet even, as we all know, even the President himself, on the 27th of December last year, at a public rally in Homa Bay, when challenged about that issue, he pledged to put an end to abductions. I therefore felt in good conscience that it would not be fitting for me to attend a cabinet meeting that did not address such a monumental issue that goes to the core of our constitutional basis and the rule of law. Additionally, I felt that for cabinet to meet and not discuss this issue would be either too insensitive or would be seen to be complicit in those heinous activities. In the circumstances, I decided to write to the President through the Secretaries of the Cabinet, drawing his attention to these issues and requesting him to excuse my non-attendance for those reasons. Ladies and gentlemen, I will be supplying you with a copy of that letter detailing what I stated to the President. The information I have to date is that the Secretary of the Cabinet did deliver the letter to the President, but no response. The next Cabinet meeting was a special one called on the 11th of February 2025, and I received both the invitation and the agenda of the meeting. Like in the first instance, I went through the agenda and found that the issues of abductions and extrajudicial killings were still not listed. I again wrote to the President directly this time, drawing his attention to my earlier letter dated 20th of January this year, and stated that I found it untenable for the highest decision-making body of the state to continue sweeping the matter of abductions and extrajudicial killings under the carpet. I stated therein that I would not attend any other cabinet meetings until the issues of abductions and extrajudicial killings were listed as an agenda for discussion, debate, and resolution on the way forward. This is because, ladies and gentlemen, apart from the fact that I was personally affected, there are several Kenyan families, friends, and relatives of Kenyan youth who still are missing. Others have been found dead, and others released after undergoing a lot of torment. The third cabinet meeting took place on the 11th of March 2025 at State House, Nairobi. And like in the other two, I had been invited and sent the agenda for the day. The item on abductions and extrajudicial killings was still missing on the agenda. Once again, I wrote directly to the President in a letter dated 10th of March, again referring to the previous two letters and reiterating my position. And I did beseech the President this time around to direct that the vexing issue of abductions and extrajudicial killings in our country be prioritized and placed on the agenda for any future cabinet meetings. Ladies and gentlemen, to date, the President has never acknowledged receipt nor responded to any of my letters, clearly thereby indicating that the matter of abductions and extrajudicial killings is not worthy of his attention or that of the Cabinet. After each Cabinet meeting, as you all know, we, and I in particular, regularly receive, without failure, a dispatch from the Cabinet indicating all the matters that have been discussed and the decisions thereof, but the matter of abductions and extrajudicial killings has never been discussed. I was therefore, like many Kenyans, was surprised to hear the President on live television on the evening of the 31st of March, stating that the issue had been discussed in Cabinet and had been resolved. Since my reasons for not attending Cabinet are clearly stated in the letters that I have referred to, the inference one draws from my sacking is that raising the issue of abductions and extrajudicial killings must be terribly annoying to the President. It is no wonder that those closest to the President have variously been in different fora calling for my resignation and or sacking. From what I've stated above, it is clear that what the President has said about my not attending Cabinet meetings is untrue and perhaps confirms what we have been seeing on social media, where many Kenyans are overwhelmingly doubting anything that the President says. It was shocking to hear the President in the same televised interview saying that upon assuming office, he disbanded a police squad which in his own words had been responsible for the abductions and killings of people and dumping their bodies in River Yala and Athi River. The question all of us are asking is, if the president knew of the existence of such a squad that committed such heinous crimes, should the members of such a squad face the full weight of the law for the crimes they have committed, indeed murders, if only to give relatives of the deceased some measure of justice for the lives wrongly and wantonly taken away by that squad or members thereof. I ask the question, why has the president not given the names of those killers that were part of that squad so that they can be prosecuted for the crimes they have committed? Your guess is as good as mine. But it may be noted that the lingering concern of many Kenyans is, how sure are we that since abductions and extrajudicial killings have continued, notwithstanding his commitment on 27th of December, and the disbanding, as he says, of that killer squad, that the current situation is not a replication of the evil trend where another squad has been set up. When my son was abducted, all efforts to trace him and get him released from the various security agencies in the country proved futile, until when I went to the president himself and he called the Director General of the National Intelligence Service. Then my son was promptly released. It is therefore not rocket science to know that my son and many other young Kenyans were in the custody of that same squad and or the Director of National Intelligence Service with the knowledge of the president. Because how possible would it be that the president calls that director and my son is immediately released? I dare to say that it is evident that to date, none of them has ever denied any of the contents of the statement that are recorded with the DCI, which is material evidence should there be a judicial process. There is no doubt that I was sacked because of my stand, a very firm stand on the issue of abductions and extrajudicial killings, and not because of the so-called absconding of cabinet meetings. But I dare say this, if the intention was to silence me, unfortunately, they have dialed the wrong number. For I will never tire of fighting for the rights of the people of this republic, no matter what it costs. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm willing to take the issue that the president has raised about competence or incompetence. For me, is a side issue. Is trying to divert attention from this monumental issue of abductions and extrajudicial killings. But, ladies and gentlemen, I am compiling a report to address that issue. But it is not for me to defend myself on that accusation. I will be presenting before Kenyans a scorecard of all that I did, and let Kenyans judge for themselves. But I will not be, with such science shows, be distracted or be diverted from addressing this issue.
Thank you for choosing David Wafula as your primary news platform. We put countless hours in research, recording, and editing. By showing up each and every day to watch our videos, you encourage us to generate more videos for the viewers. We are on a mission to inform, educate, and build a better tomorrow. To our thousands of followers in a world full of presidents, kings, and queens, you are the real gem. Adios.